What is happening?
What's up? What's up?
This is Parking Lot Parables. We are here once again. Your host, I am Matt P.
And I'm Jeremy Chase.
And we are going to just give it to you real once again.
Mm-hmm.
And we have some very special guests here.
Very special. Very special.
Very instrumental guests.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Mom, Dad. Oh, it looks like I already introduced you. Let you introduce yourselves for the one time.
I'm Yolanda Slack, Matthew's mother.
And I'm Earlis Slack. I'm Matthew's second dad.
Second dad. Shout out to my first dad, Matthew Priest Jr. But all right, I wanted to ask y'all to come on the show one time so we can just talk about, bridging the gap between generations. This is a really weird time that we're in. And I know the older generation has seen a lot of this type of stuff before.
Yeah.
And this is new to a lot of, I ain't say everything, but I mean, you've seen some of it. I mean, all of it's not new to you, whereas say to us,
yeah.
Most of this is kind of new, like pandemics, racial, a very high volume of racial injustice.
Okay, all that is new to me as well.
How?
It's not to Earlis, but
it's not to me. Go ahead, Matthew.
Like, what happened to the LA riots, Mama? The 90s. Remember the what's his name? Rodney King. Yeah, Rodney King. Didn't that happen in the 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mom, where was you at?
do you really? You said we keeping it real, right?
Yeah. Oh, please do. Please.
I was somewhere minding my business, probably high.
That's real enough. Yeah. That's real enough.
And that stuff, it didn't, it happened so periodically that it really didn't faze me.
Yeah. So to that, I'd have to say things doesn't seem to have changed much.
No, they haven't.
Nope, not too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what were you gonna say?
No. So pretty much we want to talk about how to bridge the gap between the youth and people who are older. There's a big disconnect where people don't get wisdom from elderly people or people that are wiser and been through stuff more. So what would y'all say, if you knew some youth, what would you advise them to do in order to connect more with the older generation?
I want to go ahead and say something because I have something right at the tip of my tongue. When I was younger, I hung around a lot of older people. I had a godfather that was a pastor and a president of Simmons Bible University in Louisville, Kentucky. Oh, yeah. And Mama used to always make us go over his house, and I ain't like it because they had us pressing napkins and pressing sheets and pressing pillowcases. I couldn't stand it when I was younger. But as I got older, I realized that being around the older people, I learned things.
Yeah.
So it kept me out of trouble.
That is true.
So it was, and then I learned a lot of things. I learned how to sew, I learned how to crochet, and see, today, I learned how to cook a little bit. And today,
one of the best cooks I know.
A lot of younger women, they don't want to sit down and crochet. They don't want to knit. They don't want to learn a lot of stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that is true.
But now, if I want to tell them how to scheme on a man to get a man, or to scheme at work, or hook their hair and nails up, they want to listen to that.
That is true. like you really do have to be susceptible to want to gain wisdom, because there is a lot of people out here just wilding out for no reason. But yeah, like even just like learning more about Christ, like me, you, Matt, we've all been in Bible study together, learning about prayer and just, learning more about God. And like, even in those sessions, I'm gaining more wisdom. Like there's so many people out here who are not sitting under older people. Like they're just going by what they know. They just winging it. And I think it's like really important that, whether you're young, whether you're old, like find someone that is totally different from you and like grasp from them, learn, because like y'all have a lot of wisdom to impart. I've just seen that just being around you guys. Like, and so how would you say you got to gain your knowledge and wisdom in life?
For me, it was first it was being around older people. Mm-hmm. Secondly, it was honestly after that, it was going through things. I went through some things, and sometimes you can go through things and not learn anything from it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there was things that I went through that I learned from.
Yeah.
And then another thing would be now going back to what you said about find somebody that has some wisdom. Well, like you said, but what kind of wisdom? Is it secular wisdom or is it godly wisdom? Yeah. The Bible teaches us not to gain from secular wisdom, but to gain from godly wisdom.
That's it.
And I have watched, being a teacher, adult teacher, I have seen students go through things with their boyfriend, on their job, at home with their parents, and then I've seen other people try to give them advice, worldly advice, most of the time. But they only a year or two older than him. How you gonna learn something from somebody that, one, is not godly, and two, they think they know a little something so they can teach you a little something, and then they end up getting the wrong advice.
Oh yeah.
Dad, what you got to say on that?
Well, as far as bridging the gap between generations, it is definitely a challenge, especially in the times in which we're living in now. But in response to the question as to how do you go about it, I think for bridging the gap, I think the greater responsibility lies on the older generation to initiate an attempt to try to bridge the gap. Yeah. Both sides have a degree of responsibility. First of all, I think as a more mature adult or an older person from an older generation, we must first, I think, have a compassion and a concern for a younger generation. Secondarily, we have to have respect for a younger generation and not approach them as though you young and you don't know nothing. Let me teach you. If that's the attitude, without considering that we were once young and had a similar mindset as to thinking that we knew it all. And that's a thing, that's a common condition, for all of us. When you're young, you do think, when you get to a certain point, well, I know what I need to know, and the older generation, their thoughts and their ideas are outdated. So what I want to emphasize is this: for the older generation, you must first of all have a concern and a compassion for people younger than yourself. Yeah. And then you have to have a degree of respect and not treat them as though that they don't have anything to offer or that they are incapable of learning from you. That's number one. Now on the younger side, you have to have a willingness to learn or to be taught. Now, how do you go about, creating these things in the older generation, and how do you go about creating it in the younger generation? I don't think that there's any cut and dried response. I think as an older person, if indeed you do have some wisdom, hopefully that wisdom will guide you in the direction of trying to reach, I'll say, younger people, by speaking in terms that's relevant to them.
Yeah.
If you're going to reach somebody, whether it is from another generation, another culture, or somebody who's just different from you, you have to find some commonality where you can begin the conversation. And so, again, I think the greatest responsibility starts with an elderly person or older generational person to initiate some type of attempt to reach out.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that is true.
I think that's the beginning process. And again, I don't think that there's really just a cut and dried pattern that you can approach a person of a different generation. You just need wisdom for that individual or for that group of people to try to begin an open dialogue. And of course, we know that in any relationship, it's all about communication. And if you're not speaking in a language or setting an example that can be understood by the people you're trying to reach, then it's all, it's going to be a waste of time.
Yeah.
I can't use terms, if I'm trying to reach somebody in this generation, I can't use terms that maybe we used when I was a teenager or when I was a young person.
Like scallywagging?
I won't even do that.
Like gallywhacking, mama.
But there are certain terms that was I'll say that was utilized in my youth, in my younger days, that if I use those terms now, you all would probably like, what did he say? What did he say?
Okay,
What does that mean? So I think you have to try to develop some type of commonality and then use language or an approach that is relevant to the group of people that you're trying to reach.
Okay. So I got another question. Like when you all were younger, was it really a huge gap between the older people? Like, were there people really out there trying to reach you guys the same way? Or was it difficult to find people that like really, you could learn from and just be around?
I think every generation has a generational gap.
That's true.
You've got, like when they started doing, come on baby, let's do the twist and dancing and stuff like that. They thought that was just so freakish and outlandish and just so weird. It was like, oh no, you can't do that. You can't do that. But then eventually the gap closed and everybody began to do it. Well, the younger people, black and white, began to do it. But one of the things I was going to mention was, I think one of the patterns is how you were raised.
Oh yeah.
Because I was raised like that, and my sisters were too. We may not have liked it, but there was no talking back about what you didn't like. It was yes ma'am, no ma'am.
Oh yeah.
Yes sir, no sir. I don't care how much you hated it. You never expressed that. You didn't even have a look like that on your face. Or you would get a knuckle sandwich.
Yep. Done that.
I believe that parents, I believe that type of structure can also be established in the home. Because if children are taught to respect their elders, to reverence their elders, then a lot of time, excuse me, a lot of times that gives that young person like to see it through the elder's eyes, and to help get that common ground to stand on. Well, you know, I like to cook. What do you cook? I like to do this. I like to do that. What do you do? When it starts at a very young age, then I think that helps. Of course, there's always a situation where, okay, no, I don't want to be bothered with you. I don't like, because when I was younger, I was a mean little something. When my mother had friends that came over, when my mother had friends that came over, if I didn't like them, I was disrespectful to them. Because I wouldn't speak, or I'd mean mug them, as y'all call it now. I'd give them a nasty look. But my mother, you know, she didn't say anything, just long as, you know, she would correct me, but she wouldn't get me like if I tried that with her. But because I was mean, if some of them, for whatever reason, I didn't like them or didn't want to be bothered with them, like I said, I'd mean mug them. I wouldn't speak, or I'd be like, hello. You know, I'd act like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes like Edmund does.
First of all, who's Edmund?
No, Edmund sit right next to me. For the listeners out there.
I get it honest.
Yes, you do. Honestly, Edmund, that's one of the reasons why I didn't break your neck.
Oh, is that one of the reasons?
One of the reasons, because I knew you
Christ.
got it honest. I knew you got some of that from me.
She sees a reflection of herself in you. That's really what she's saying.
Exactly. And sometimes when I wanted to correct you, God would speak to me and say, how you gonna get him for something I didn't get you like that. I didn't do that to you. So, you know, it taught me a lesson, but yes, and I know you're like that kind of because I was like that. But I wasn't like that with my mother. But I was like that with other adults.
Jeremy, you asked the question, were there older people around during our coming up? And I'm from a somewhat different generation than Yolanda was, because
just a little bit.
Yeah, there's 13 years difference between our ages.
Gotcha.
I will say that I don't think that there was so much a conscious effort of older people, in my personal experience, reaching out to try to guide me. But there were people, I say, in older generations that, through their example, taught me certain things. But and just to kind of elaborate on the point of generational gaps as it relates to the racial tensions that we experiencing now. During the time I was born in 1950, so in my early ages, from birth to 10 years old, was when what we know now as the civil rights movement started. So during that period, I was not really cognizant of what was going on and what was taking place in our country. And what I'm getting to, by the time Dr. King began to take a prominent role in, protesting for civil rights, in some arenas, there were older people, because Dr. King was in his late 20s and early 30s when he began to take prominence. And so there were older people who thought that, his approach was wrong. And by the time he had really established himself as a leader with nonviolent protests, there came along a younger group of black leaders, Stokely Carmichael, H. Rap Brown, who thought that nonviolence was definitely not the way to go. They thought that we needed to move in a more aggressive, violence if necessary kind of way to address civil rights issues. Pretty much what we have going on today. You see a lot of older black people who are appalled and somewhat they're concerned with the protests that we have going on now because violence is erupting, in the midst of it.
Yeah.
So Yolanda said earlier that generational gaps are something that occurs in every generation, and it does. It's the natural order of things. It's only natural that there be a gap between younger people and older people. That's a natural phenomenon.
Yeah.
One of the reasons that is the case is because when we are younger, and I include us too, because there was a time when this was true of me. When we are younger, in establishing our own identity, separate from our parents and the values of the more mature people around us, we somewhat for a period reject their values and begin to embrace what we consider to be the more modern or the up-to-date values of our peers.
Yeah.
And that's the way we begin to form our own identity. So then a generational gap occurs, beginning in that period. So it's a natural order of things. But, and I'll go back to what I said earlier about, I think the responsibility of beginning to try to bridge that gap lies heavily on the older person to make an effort to try to connect with younger people. And that was one of the things that, going back to the racial situation, Dr. King was successful in many ways with bridging that gap between the older black folk that were, were reluctant, and then when the younger group, younger than him, were saying, we need to, step this thing up and get. He managed to somehow, I think, create dialogue and communication between both those factions, and were able to, in some ways, pull them together.
Yeah.
Now, it had to be, I'll say this, it had to be God that gave him the wherewithal to accomplish that. He didn't win them all over. Don't get me wrong. He didn't win everybody over. There was still, up until the time he was assassinated, there were people who were on opposite poles saying you're going about it all wrong. And that was, it seemed to be generational to me. But it is, I think it is paramount for us who are more mature to endeavor to put forth a purposeful effort to try to begin building that bridge between the other generations. And one of the reasons I think that we are probably better suited to initiate it is because we were all young once. If we ever lose I'll say the sense of that used to be me.
Yeah.
And see, the thing with, as far as being a younger person is concerned, as much as we think we know when we're young, as much as we think we know, as much as we think we got a grip on things, we know what life and living is all about. And as much as we think that, the reality of it is we do not.
Yeah, that is true.
I'm saying that because I can remember when I was in my early 20s. When I was in my early 20s, I thought I had a handle on it. I thought that mom and dad and them, they old fashioned. Things ain't like they used to be.
They old, not just old fashioned, but old.
Yeah, this is something that's important that needs to be communicated between older and younger generations. And here's the thing. Things change, but human nature doesn't. Human nature does not change, and that's the thing that young people, when you're younger, you don't really know that. You think that your generation and what you're dealing with is unique, and it may be, but human nature does not change.
There is nothing new under the sun.
It doesn't. Human nature does not change.
Yeah.
Young people gonna think the way they think, because we did when we were younger. We thought that everything that we were doing was brand new and unique, and no, our parents did not understand.
And they didn't need to.
Folks don't know what they're talking about. It ain't like it used to be.
Oh yeah.
That's the mindset. But the reality of it is, human nature does not change. And that's the advantage. That's the advantage now that some older people, and I prefer to use the word mature people, have on younger, less immature people.
Oh yeah.
And my final remark on this is this: wisdom does not necessarily come with age.
Yeah, that's true.
Every older person does not have some golden nuggets of wisdom to pass along to you.
That's right.
There is a saying that, and I may be, not quoting it exactly as it's recorded. It says this: that every man is my teacher, and I am his. You can learn something from everybody. It may not. You can learn either some things that you want to imitate or some things you want to avoid.
Oh yeah, that's true now.
So
that's definitely true.
Every mature person does not necessarily have some good wisdom, that you want to,
Amen,
learn from.
Yeah.
But those who do, should, I say, reach back for the generation that's coming along with them, coming along behind them, so to speak.
Yes, sir. Matt, you got any other questions?
And I would just add to that this other quote that I've always heard: there's no fool like an old fool.
You right about that. You fools. Oh boy.
No, I actually do not have nothing else to add, bro. I don't believe. No. Just want to say for everybody who's watching, reach out to the older generation. You never know what you may learn. I mean, and be wise about who you reach out to as well, because like Dad said, just because they're older doesn't mean they're wiser.
That is true.
And you'll find plenty of those out there. So be careful of that.
Yeah.
And stay away from the foolishness.
Stay away from the foolishness.
And be mindful who you share your pearls with. The word tells us that.
Elaborate on that, Mama.
It's just simply, I'm just going to paraphrase. All it is be careful who you tell your business to.
Oh, yeah.
Don't tell your business to somebody that's going to turn around and tell everybody else your business. Everybody who has a best friend has another best friend. And that best friend has a best friend.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You need to be mindful of that. It's been times I've shared things with people and then I wish I hadn't.
Yeah.
Because they said something to somebody else about my business.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to be mindful. And just because they wear a cross don't mean. That's why you need the spirit.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yes, that's true. You know, this kind of reminds me of a story. Y'all heard the story of Dorian Gray?
Yes.
Okay. You remember? I haven't actually read the book, but there's a particular take on it. I saw a movie where he was under this older gentleman, right? And, he was a young man, like in his early 20s. He was getting his picture painted.
Yes.
And he let the older guy talk him into saying something so foolish. He was like, I would give my soul, I'm paraphrasing, I would give my soul just to stay this young or this handsome forever. And so throughout the movie, this old man is just vicariously living through him, just got him doing every trash thing he can do. And what it was doing at the end of the day is it was tearing his soul apart.
Yeah.
And it was reflected through the painting.
Yes.
Because his painting reflected his soul and all of that wild living he was doing.
Yeah.
Listening to that older guy, and his soul ended up looking like a monster.
Yes. Hideous.
So hideous, very hideous. And all of that through listening to old school out here. So just be careful. That's all I just said that to say be careful out here. And like we said, man, stay away from the foolishness.
Stay away from the foolishness.
And I'm gonna tell you another seed from the word of God is just paraphrasing, what you do comes back on you.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Whatever you give, you gonna get back. If you give good, you'll get good. If you give bad, you gonna get bad. And when you are disrespectful and nasty and rude and you acting like that with people, old or young, that's what you gonna get. And you want to be mindful of that. You want to be mindful of what you say about people. I ain't paying no attention to that old woman. She's stupid. She don't know this. She don't know that. What you say and talk about and how you talk about people is going to come back on you. And when it does, it does not come the same way.
I'm telling you.
That's true. That is true.
You're right about that now. Because you got to be careful what you say out your mouth. Because it'll so come back to get you.
Yes, and life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Oh yeah.
I'm not listening to her. I know what I'm doing. I got it going on. I look good. I'm always gonna look good. Fat girls ain't this. Skinny girls ain't that. Dark skinned girls ain't this. Light skinned girls ain't that. But that stuff comes back to bite you.
I'm telling you, fool.
And it does more than bite you.
Oh yeah. Tear you up.
So keeping all that in mind, speaking of foolishness though, y'all know what time it is.
Oh yeah.
It is Miss Me with the Foolishness.
Uh-oh.
So this is I find this story very funny, bro.
Oh yeah.
I can't even lie. I mean, I probably shouldn't laugh at it.
I mean,
dude got his butt blown apart.
He died.
That's the premise of it.
Oh, well, yeah, that too. But well, this just goes to show you really shouldn't be out here playing with people's feelings.
Yeah.
Should not.
Yeah. I can't imagine. I can't even recall how many stories we've heard where somebody, you cheated on somebody got cheated on and came up missing. I remember one story where a guy got his thing cut off and she threw it out in the trenches.
Yeah.
Raina Bobbitt, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was even one story I heard where the girl, she ate her husband.
Yeah.
He was beating on her. I think he was cheating on her and beating on her. She said his ribs was oh so sweet.
Man.
His who?
Crazy
his ribs.
She ate him?
Yeah.
She ate him, Mom.
Ate him up.
She killed him. She beat him across the head and then she ate him.
Well, yeah, let's get into this article.
Yep, let's get into it.
So go ahead.
All right, woman charged after bursting plastic explosives in husband's rectum. This is in Iowa City. I didn't know they was getting down like this in Iowa. I didn't even like really.
In Valdosta?
Iowa.
No, Iowa. Iowa.
Oh, Iowa. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you said our
correct.
city.
No, man.
Yeah, so has been charged with homicide after a pitiless crime. What does that mean? She they trying to say she took no pity on him?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well,
None whatsoever.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to say she didn't have no pity on him.
So did you see what he did?
No.
So the woman was enraged to find out that her husband was having an affair for several years with a 24-year-old woman that he met through an online sugar daddy dating website.
Oh yeah.
I ain't know they had them.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, they got sugar
they got
daddy
apps.
and sugar mama.
They got apps. Yeah, they got apps.
Golly.
Mm-hmm.
You know they had websites for that.
A quick search of her computer revealed she purchased a small quantity of plastic explosives from a site on the dark web. We believe she drugged her husband with sleeping pills to sedate him so she could put her plan into action. Could you imagine, yeah.
I wonder what grade she used. Like, were they sparklers? Were they the full firecrackers?
No,
No, they wasn't firecrackers.
No,
Not if it killed him.
Plastic explosives is used by demolition experts
like
in the
C4.
military.
Mm-hmm.
That is not
C4
something
in his
that, even in a small amount, it is very destructive. I mean,
Yeah.
his body was literally torn apart by that.
Oh yeah, had to be. Woo.
But I'm not the only thing I could think of is no man is worth that. No woman is worth that.
No.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't love me and don't want me, I'm scared letting down in the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna kill you,
for.
hurt you, beat you. That stuff is crazy. Cause I'm not gonna give my life, have my life. Her life is ruined.
Yeah,
Not just his, but her life
Yeah.
is ruined.
Yeah.
Yeah, she done for it's a wrap.
And they
for
got
her.
kids together, so she ain't thinking nothing about them kids. She just wanted pure revenge. Like, ooh.
No.
Well, when
sound like a Tyler
anger,
Perry movie.
when a person allows their anger to control them, they never make wise choices. Never do the right thing. It's always going to be something ridiculously crazy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah.
They don't think. Whenever a person is angry, if you can think of a time in which you've been angry, you don't think the process through. You're actually just reacting to what you're thinking and feeling at that moment in time. And this lady had some deep-seated anger for her to plot and plan like that. I mean, she had, like you said from the article, she had to go spend money, get by on the dark web.
Yeah,
drugging,
cryptocurrency,
and then she videoed it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was like, goodness, man. She just.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna tell you, Earl is talking about anger. Now, just keeping it real. I was dating a guy and he was playing on me. Mm-hmm. And when I left home, my mother gave me a flapjack skillet, which is flat with just a ring on it. Not a high ring, 2 or 3 inches, just a rim on it.
Uh-huh.
And I remember one time when I caught him and we argued about it. I took that skillet and I threw that thing like a boomerang at him.
Ooh.
And I thought about how he could have been dead or really hurt. He didn't hit me. All he did was hurt me, embarrassed me, shamed me.
Mm-hmm.
I could have spent the rest of my life in prison.
That's true. That's true.
And none of it was worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When somebody don't want you and they want to mistreat you, you need to leave.
Yeah. Get up out of there immediately.
I promise you, you will find someone that will love you and treat you like a queen.
You better preach, Mom.
Because that is what he does. Instead of me staying with somebody crazy, playing around, taking my car, doing all kinds of crazy, stupid things.
Yeah.
Messing around with all them women, all them hoochies. There's been hoochies will always be here.
Yeah.
And ready to take somebody else's man if they can. And brag. And now they used to didn't brag about it, but now they'll come and brag about it and talk about it in front of your face and make you want to hurt them. And you crazy if you do. I'd leave them all alone.
I'm telling you.
Well, if there's any ladies watching tonight, y'all heard it here. Get out of there. Don't do it. Don't do it.
It's about to be domestic violence month, so get it together.
Yeah.
Get up out of there.
And it's about hold on, domestic violence one is on October.
Yeah, and suicide month, suicide awareness.
Why in October?
Because that's when
it's
people
the year when all the horror movies come out. All the
Yeah.
horror movies, all the Michael Myers and the Jasons, and we got a few of them out there.
People start acting up when it comes close to Christmas time too. So.
Yeah.
Well, they said they wasn't gonna let people trick or treat this year.
Yeah. Right.
Some of them you can't stop.
I feel like they might.
Yeah, some of them you can't stop.
Yeah, they gonna do what they gonna do.
People are just too entitled.
Yeah.
Yeah. But do y'all have anything going on right now that you would like to tell the people about? Any future endeavors or anything? Any events y'all got going on or planning right now?
I'd like to invite anybody and everybody to our Monday night Bible study class at 8:30. We have it every Monday. You're welcome. Just hit up Matthew and Jeremy for the link. Right now we're talking about prayer. We at the end of talking about prayer, and we do have some other things coming up that we'll make announcements later.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. So if y'all want to be part of the Bible study, just hit us up in the comments or inboxes. We'll show you how to get to it. So.
Yep. Where can the people follow you at, in social media wise?
On me?
Yeah, Mom. You do remember your social media name, right?
It's Edith Yolanda Slack on Facebook. It is Earlis and Yolanda Design on Facebook. It's Outstanding Nails on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
We'll drop it in the comments as well.
Got three Facebooks out here. Okay. All right. Well, you can follow me. Okay. Oh, sorry, Dad. Go ahead.
You can reach me at Earlis Slack on Facebook, and on Instagram is Silray at Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
To match that beard.
Silray is my first name spelled backwards. It's Silrae.
Okay, I was just about to say that for any of y'all who don't get be like Silray, that don't make no sense. That ain't a word. But you can follow me, Matthew Priest, on Facebook, Matthew E. Priest on Instagram, and Unprecedented MP on Snapchat and Twitter.
Oh yeah, you can follow me at the Chase Harden on all social media platforms.
Yes, and once again, remember, reach out to the older generation. Older generation, if you watching, reach out to the youth. Let's come together on this thing.
Oh yeah.
Let's come together, loving you whether and whether times are good or bad, happy or sad.
You know the song, man.
I don't know that song.
You don't?
You don't know that song, baby?
You don't know Let's Stay Together?
Who's that by?
Al
Green.
Al Green.
Nah, only Al Green I know is Love and Happiness or something like that.
Love and a happiness.
We see generational gap happening
right now.
I know that one though.
Nah, you gonna have to hit me with some Gap Band, Isley Brothers, Earth, Wind and Fire.
You not ready for that?
Who? On that note, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Once again, I am Matt P.
And I'm Jeremy Chase.
One time.
Yes, sir.